go, it go, it go crazy. It go crazy. It go crazy. It go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go crazy like a dum-dum. Eastside homeboy, where I come from. Dance on the floor till you go numb. No fighting, no hating, no red rum. This is O City. All the way to the bay, hit the base, feel me. Catch a case cause it's beating up your Chevy. Get you moving side to side, getting all sweaty. Make it work it, work it, work it out. Turn the volume up loud. This a draw crowd, make it all shout. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and I'm ready. Like a quarterback, Tom Brady. Get you all in the frenzy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, go, go crazy. Go, go, go crazy. Go, go, go. Already all the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, go, go crazy. All the way from the O to
I'm realizing it's taking longer and longer for me to figure out how to like work my buttons and get my share together. I feel like the old lady. I can't do. I spend the whole first 30 seconds like I'm gonna figure that out at some point so I can just hit one button and it's ready. Good evening, everybody. It is 8:03 and it is time for another Tuesday scoop show, y'all. It is that time, and we have had a good week, a too short of a weekend, and we are back at it again. Okay, I'm just gonna say it for everybody. It felt like it was way too short a weekend. Monday came way too damn fast, but here we are. So I'll just put that collective WTF out there for everybody. But good evening, everyone. Like I said, it is time for the scoop. And we are so glad that you have decided to carve out a little bit of time and hang out with the fam on this evening. We've got a really, really great show in store for you. We've got some hot topics that are going to definitely get you locked in. It's going to teeter on the side of grown folk conversation. So if you generally like to chill with us and watch the show like with the kids at your feet, and you got us low on speaker, go on, get them headphones tonight, okay? Go on, charge up, do what you got to do, relocate, but grab them headphones.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
You said hurry up and do it.
I'm going to try and prolong this a little bit, ad-lib just a little bit, but I'm going to need you to go and get what you get on, because we got grown and sexy conversation beginning and end, okay? So just get ready. If you are new around here, welcome. Hey, sugars. Like I said, it's going to be a good night tonight, but we are glad that you have joined us and that you are ready to have some good convo with us on this evening. So while you are here, if you would, please, this is how we get acquainted around here. This is how we say our what's ups to the fam. If you would, in the comment section, go ahead and drop your city and state. Let us know where you're repping from on this Tuesday evening. We like to know just how far and wide our reach goes from week to week. So if you would, please drop that in that comment section. We would so appreciate you. And while you're marinating around in that region of your phone or your screen, go ahead and hit that share button to the left, so that your crew where you like to hang out knows where you will be chilling for the next few minutes. Because, if it's your crew, it can be our crew. Like, they're totally okay with sitting with us. Like, we've got room. Okay, like we've got room. So go ahead, hit that share button and let them know. Come on and join this conversation. Get in this comment section so that they can get their thoughts and feels out for the people. Okay. And we also know, like I said, this is the busy time of the evening. We know y'all getting dinner together. We tucking children in, all that good stuff. So you might not be able to hang out for the full show. We get it. We understand life sometimes. So we made it easy for you to catch that good old replay however you like to listen. So you can lock in with us on all of our social media channels. We are out here on YouTube at The Scoop Show. We are on Facebook at Real Scoop Show. And we are on Instagram at The Scoop Radio Show. And check this out, y'all. We are also on SoundCloud. So while you're at the gym, you know, you in the zone, you get it in, but you want to listen, you want to get some giggles and get your thoughts off for the morning, go on and plug into The Scoop, okay? Because we are on SoundCloud. Go ahead and search for The Scoop on SoundCloud, and you can get the show within your ears, okay? Ear to ear with The Scoop. Okay, you don't get to see our faces, but you get to hear all of that good conversation. You can tune in, okay? But yeah, make sure that you are locked in with The Scoop, and I think that is about it. I think that's it. I done ad-libbed all I can. I'm gonna start rapping now. I hope you got the earphones ready.
You good,
bro? How are you?
I'm good. I'm like you. Like the weekend went by really quick, but it was good. It was good. Really good week last week. As you saw, Trey was here, so that was that was fun. I'm still recovering, so yeah, but I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's been a long week in this 2-dayer already. It's been good. It's been productive.
I just need these allergies. I need these allergies to stop. I'm over here. My eyes just keep watering and. Yeah. I see it. I see some of our peoples is in the house. I see Matt. What's going on, brother?
Hey.
I see, of course, the good Donnell. What's going on, man? How you doing? So we got some people. I saw Ebony. Ebony is here. So of course y'all drop in the comments.
Yeah, LD is has entered the chat. I see what's going on, bro. Yeah, right. Yeah. Come on, fellas. I see y'all. Where's my ladies? Like I need to get my ats going. I need to get my ats.
Y'all good? We got this tonight. Y'all fellas, y'all don't run out on me now. Okay,
yeah, y'all stay locked in because it's going.
I'm gonna need y'all here in about 55 seconds. So y'all, come on, y'all stay here. So yeah, drop your comments, of course, throughout the entire show. We got really good stuff to talk about. So, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this first one actually was one from last week that we didn't get to, and so we wanted to pick up with this one. Here it is. All right. So the question I posted was, how did you learn what love is and how it should be shown? How did you learn what love is and how it should be shown? Yeah. So let me give you, as you're thinking, let me say the reason what made me post this question was I was talking to, actually through several conversations and just listening to the different understandings of how a person receives love and thought something was loving and unloving, and how the exact same thing could happen to two different people, and one saw it as loving, the other saw it as unloving. And so in my mind, I'm like, I think part of our issue is, and you've heard me use this before, we all have a story. We talk about like love maps and stuff like that. And so we assume that our love map, or the way we learn love, is the way that everybody else learned love. And because we don't slow down and learn the other person well, we just assume that they love us the way they love us, especially new in relationships, because if you're in a relationship, they're doing all of the things, or they're doing a lot of the things that we would view as loving. But as we progress in relationships, some of that stuff changes, or some of the other stuff becomes more visible.
Yeah.
So now certain things don't seem unloving, or doesn't seem loving anymore. And we're now in this relationship where we're telling somebody, I don't feel loved, or I don't feel like you love me. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
B, C, D, E, F, G. And they're like, yeah, I don't need none of that. None of that does anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
And we sitting there going, oh, I didn't know. So that was
Right.
kind of the idea of where the question came from. So what are your thoughts?
Very good question. Very good question. Especially with some of the offline reading and things that I've been doing here lately. That's a very, very good question. Um, so I think, no, I know I learned love two different ways, probably multiple ways, but the primary ways that I learned about love were first what was taught to me, what I was, you know, shown, what I was told of what love was, what it looked like, what it acted like, all of those things. I was told what love looks like, what it is and what it isn't. And then I also think that where I learned my first real lessons, where I could see it in application, was with my parents.
Yeah.
I was blessed to be raised in a 2-parent home, but my father, the Keith Turner that we always see on the chat, that is my if we're doing titles, he's my stepfather. So I saw that relationship take place after seeing, not necessarily being involved in. I was really, really young when it happened, but I know who my daddy is. You know what I mean? Like I have memories and I'm aware of that situation. So I was able to draw on different things to draw those conclusions on how that began and ended, and then how this new thing flourished. And then as I grew older, I watched both of these people who I love very much deeply and from very similar places as far as my protection and care for. I watched how they protected and cared for each other, and that shaped more so of what I thought love is and isn't. Not so much what they told me, see, this is how you love each other, you see what we're doing here. It was more of the observation of what existing looked like within their love, and I identified what I wanted it to look like and what I didn't want it to look like for me based on that.
Yep. And I think that is how the majority of us, do come to what love is. I think where it gets unique is when we have situations where either two things. Number one, either one of those persons is not present. And when I say I'm not, I'll say one of those persons or one of those personalities is not present. And then now we have either some imbalance or something like that. And then even in situations, because most of my life I was raised in a 2-parent home. My parents didn't get divorced till I was 16. Mm-hmm. And so, so I was always in a 2-parent home. But the realization of, even though I learned love through them, the amount of dysfunction or dysfunctional love that I learned watching them. And we all come with that too. Mm-hmm. So realizing that, I thought about how many times I have been in relationships, experienced what love was, and because of the dysfunctional things that I had learned or picked up by watching, felt like, oh, this person either doesn't love me or I need to go and exit this relationship, when in actuality, I probably, in a lot of instances, just needed to re-understand or relearn what love really was, and realize that part of what I thought was love was dysfunction. And
it was rooted in some stuff that, you're going to spend the rest of your time running from.
I had learned in the midst of dysfunction. Mm-hmm. So it just made me think, like I said, as I'm thinking about myself, as I'm thinking about a lot of people who I've counseled, I'm like, there's really a whole lot of dysfunctional love that we have that we think, and then even now culturally, we see it, like where we see a lot of things that we're now calling acceptable or non-negotiables. I'm like, honey, that's not a non-negotiable. That's a preference. And not only is it a preference, it's not even a really important preference.
Right.
But
Right.
because of their experience,
Mhm.
this is something that they refuse to see as anything but non-negotiable. So yeah, so that's kind of for me just how it made me think, and it made me back up like and say, okay, what other things do I need to unlearn
Mhm. Mhm.
as I'm learning what?
Or be willing to learn in the
Yeah,
first place.
yep,
Because I
absolutely.
think a lot of the times we come into our relationships because I, and I think another, as far as the dysfunction piece, I was thinking as you said that we find ways to survive despite dysfunction.
Yes.
So that's why I think it's so easy for us to cover for it in a way where we don't really need to fix. I mean, we all
Mhm.
right. Like, yeah, okay. I see your point. But I mean, we all right. You know, so we don't really create the space to correct it because we managed to move on
We manage it.
anyway.
Yeah.
And when, so that's where you kind of get that pushback when, okay, but what if we tried something? Yeah, but I'm good. I'm too old. I haven't been here. We've been doing this too long. It's fine. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
those are the types of things that we hear when we start to talk about peeling that back. Damn, I forgot
To your point,
the other part of
like you
that.
said, but not being willing to do that
Willing to learn.
harms
Yeah.
us. Harms us because if you're doing that and your partner is doing, or the person who you're trying to be a partner is doing that, like how do you ever you never come to a place where both of you
Right.
can come to an agreement on what love looks like for
y'all.
your
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm holding on to what I learned and you're holding on to what you believe, and neither of us is willing to let go of it.
Right.
So
And if we're here together, that was either not our relationship to possess or it didn't work. So whatever those things were, you either haven't had a chance to experience it in this space yet, or it was not very great for you in the first place. So why are we holding on to that thing? How'd that work out for you? You know, it's one of those simple questions, and how'd that work? Let's just talk about that.
Yeah. Or you know what? Here's the truth. Or sometimes it did work for them, but it doesn't work which is like, okay, but it worked so well for my parents, but that's not gonna work well for us.
Yeah, I ain't your mama.
Like our situation is just completely different. I'm not your mama. You're not my daddy. Like that, And or I like to. One of the things I always have to. I love to remind couples of this is, I said this to you before. It's like we love to compare our 20-year marriage parents with our 1 year of marriage. Like no. Your dad is 65.
Right.
Years to get to this point. He is 27.
Yeah.
He's not your dad. He's
He
not
ain't there yet.
to do that like him. Now, if we look at your 27-year-old dad and his 27-year-old self, I guarantee you will probably find that they're more similar than you think. So you got to compare apples to apples. So we love to do that, but that's not fair. Let me read these comments. Desmond says, we exist and sometimes pride ourselves on long suffering, as a people. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's our badge of honor. We wear it proud, honey.
Absolutely. And you know what? And even though that is a gift of the spirit, that's not the goal. It's not the goal. The goal is to say I suffered long.
Right.
So no.
But we act like it's a Girl Scout or Cub Scout badge. Like and then we have to level it up. Ever so often we got to come back and renew the long suffering badge. Break free of the badge.
It's like the long suffering part is not meant to be that's a trauma response at that point. No, we're not trying to go for that one. So, no, you're absolutely right. Alyssa says, I just try to bring joy to the ones I care about, whatever that looks like to them, as I get it figured out. I'm also a huge giver, so I leave the little treats and special things for them to find all the time to remind them, even when I'm not there, I still care. That's dope. Totally dope.
I love thoughtful people.
Yep. Can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with thoughtful people. Can't go wrong with that. Good stuff. All right, next. Ready?
Yep.
All right.
Y'all got your headphones? Y'all ready?
This one ain't as bad.
Okay.
After this one, it goes downhill after this.
Okay.
It goes downhill after this. So this is the last one. All right. So this week, one of the big stories in the news has been actually since last week is Tesla CEO, Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk today reached a deal to buy Twitter for $44 billion.
What a beat.
And so they were attempting, of course, to not do this, but as I say, Elon, made them an offer that they could not refuse. And so he is officially taking over. So I've seen several of the stories where people are excited about this because this is the return of free speech, and this is the return of course, I've seen that this is the return of Donald Trump to Twitter, and this is the return of unadulterated media that because everyone else is yada yada yada. So I'm intrigued to see what happened. I will say, and this is not any advice. I'm not giving advice, anything like that. But I will say, when it first was announced a couple of weeks ago that the brother had bought 9% of the company, I bought some shares. I'm not gonna lie, because I wanted to see what it was gonna do, and so hasn't done. I mean, as of today, it's done okay. It was up a lot more earlier today, but not bad. So we'll see. We'll see.
There's gonna be some money to be made somewhere in this. That's for sure. So I thought this was interesting, but kind of not at the same time. Twitter is not my platform of choice, like at all. Like if I could rank them all, it's like dead last for me. Twitter overwhelms the hell out of me, so I don't really fool with Twitter like that. However, I do recognize the impact that Twitter has made on like the world. So I have to say that this is intriguing to me, considering how controversial our good sir can be. I'm wondering how much he plans to shake this up, because we all know that social media mirrors each other. You're only new in the space for a little bit of time. Your new thing is only new until the developers of the other folks can figure out how to do what you've done. That's it. So the changes that Twitter makes will trickle down to all of the other platforms that we participate on. And these are still, I'm not really familiar with who owned Twitter before. Was it multiple people who collectively owned it, or was it one person that owned it that he bought it from?
No, it was a founder. So they had a founder. I forgot his name. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a person who founded
one person. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. A dude is I side eye him, and this might sound crazy, but because of the amount of money that he has and the moves that he makes, he moves kind of, I don't know. He's more risky than I would like for me. And that just concerns me based on the impact that I know he's able to make in that space.
Let me rephrase. There were 4 men who founded Twitter.
Okay. See, so yeah, well then that confirms my original. I didn't even know that, so my gut was right. I had a feeling there were more people involved in the decisions that Twitter was making previously, as opposed to it now being in the hands of one person, and then a collective of people providing input, as opposed to having equal shared input into how Twitter is run. So yeah, intuition, gut was right, spirit was right on that one. I had a feeling it was a different shift that was taking place that might have caused more concern, because this just looks like more privileged white men having access to all that power and influence, like on all of these platforms and that's political it's industrial, it's all of the arenas. So
yeah. Desmond, you're correct. It is. He is about. The former CEO and founder, the main, which is Jack Dorsey, and he is making about almost $1 billion off of this deal. So,
get your money.
Not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. I am interested to see what he can, because I don't know enough about Twitter's analytics. But if it's anything I've learned about Elon Musk is very good at figuring out what to do, doing stuff with data.
Say it one more time. I was reading.
So he's very good at doing stuff with data. So I don't know the analytics enough of Twitter and how Twitter works. But I mean, if you think about it, he went from PayPal to space, to Tesla and SpaceX, so like all of these are very data driven businesses. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do with it.
Yeah, Tesla's on my ish list right now anyway, for how they've been showing out in them plants in California too. So
yeah,
like I have issues with the things that you can prepare something for the people, but how you show up for the people is totally different to me.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, we'll see, but I'm not optimistic, just to be perfectly honest.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
It's gotten so crazy out there. The state is suing Tesla. Like when the state of California decides to sue you because you're doing racist ish, you're doing the most. It's gone too far when the state picks up the case. Yeah. But that's a whole other topic. But like that is the thing that's
Yeah. I hear you. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna keep an eye on it because, of course, now.
Listen, I'll have to find some links and share it. But it made NPR, and they had a whole little conversation about it. Tesla showing their ass out in California at their warehouse. Excuse me, William, but there's no other cute way to say it. Like they are showing out, and the things that come out of his mouth in relation to that incident are not what you want.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't. He doesn't hold his tongue. Let's just say that. So
I'm saying it'd be one thing if you had loose lips and said the right stuff, but you got loose lips to say the wrong.
Yeah.
So like, what are you doing?
He's an interesting person, I'll say.
Yeah. So
interesting person. Yeah. All right. Let's keep.
We're gonna leave that one as TBD. Yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna happen with that one.
Every so often there's a story that we just have to keep following to see how this turns out. All right, here we go. So these next two are kind of piggyback posts, but I'm gonna do one of.
These are like the definition of piggyback posts. They're not kind of.
They are. I did it on purpose.
Yeah.
I will say the first one. No, the second one. The second one came because of the first one.
Okay.
All right. So it's perfect. I was trying to do that. So here's the first one. The first one says that most women do not marry the man that they have the best sex with, but the man who they believe they can build a great life with. Sex is secondary. Agree, disagree, and why? Most women do not marry the man they have the best sex with, but the man who they believe they can build a great life with. Sex is secondary. Agree, disagree, and why? Actually, the first one was a response to the second one. Let me say this. This one was a response to the first one. Okay. The next one.
I think there's some truth to this. I think there could be some truth to this. Yeah, I think there could be truth to this. However, I think it's shifting. I think sex is making its way back up on the list of priorities for like lifetime partners. Whereas before there may have been much more wiggle room as far as that being higher on the list. Yeah. I think I agree. Why? Because yeah, our position was different. And we know that you spend this much time having sex with the person for the most part, and then you like spend the whole rest of the time doing life like clothed. So to lose a whole a perfectly fine person, simply because this might not be mind blowing, 8 times out of 10, is not a smart decision. When you just weigh it all out, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for long-term planning. So I would agree with this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was very the comments on the post were hilarious because I gotta have both. And I'm like, nobody's saying you can't. Nobody's
Yeah.
saying you can't have it. That wasn't the point. The point was is that the point of the question was, I think that a couple of things. Number one, that we sometimes will put way too much weight on sex. Again, not that doesn't mean it's not important.
We being men or we being people?
We being men,
Okay.
put way too much weight on sex, and not enough on the other things.
Mhm.
So what I said on the post is that a woman, especially as she gets into a certain age range, is looking for a man who will provide her emotional security, who will provide leadership and partnership, who she can raise children with, who can be, financially comfortable with. Like she's looking for those things. It's not so much, oh, the sex is good. I'm good. It's no, I need other things. And what I also said was women now, from my perspective, are more willing to stay single if they are unable to find a man who can provide the emotional, the emotional, spiritual, leadership, maturity, things like that. Again, not saying that it's not important. That's not what the point. The point was that we have to learn to develop those other things. This was also a response to everybody trying to question the good Russell Wilson and trying to say this is why the futures will at a certain age, you're gonna do your thing. But we're wondering why would she be with a Russ versus with a Future, because there are things that he was providing for her that this other man was not. And so she, even if thought that these things were, again, we don't know nothing about their sex life, so I'm not trying to, again,
it looks the F good from what we seeing in them videos, baby. I was gonna wait for you to finish, but I was gonna put that out there for the people.
We don't know any of my point. You know what I mean? But my point
You're right.
is,
Yeah, you're right.
we make assumptions about it. But there are definitely things that are more important than what you put it out there. That was again not saying you can have a weak game because the comments were like, but then they'll turn around and complain about because they still want good sex, just like everybody does. That's not
everybody does.
Like, but the point is those other things help make the sex better.
Oh yeah.
Because if you have an emotional intimacy, if we are spiritually in tune, if we are handling the business, handling our financial business, she can relax a whole lot more and things can flow a whole lot easier if she knows this man, what Sierra say, got my back.
Full coverage protection.
Back there's not a thing that I need. This man ain't willing to go into. Like when you get to that space.
Yeah.
That was my point.
And I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. And I think I don't know why that, because that to me that's a perfect example. The Russ and Sierra Future triangle or whatever. It's a perfect example of how that transformation takes place, how it happens when your priorities shift. You align yourself with the proper tools and situations to get you where you need to be. And if after, especially after you add motherhood to that, after you have life in you, after you feel that change go on with it, it should shift something where in both people, honestly, in both participants in the creation of that child, something should shift that makes you move into a I need to do better wherever you are. You could be good where you at, but like when you know that you're bringing new life into the situation, like I need to do better. I'm not ready. Like I got to do something else to get where I need to be. So if you do your checks and balances and identify that that's not happening here, I need to make changes, and then you identify those changes, then like yeah, she had a clear understanding of what was necessary. And then from what it looks like, again, observation's sake, it looks like because all of those other things were in alignment, they now have a freedom to enjoy all of the other stuff that falls in place because of that. Like the way, like their physical chemistry is palpable on the screen when you see them. Like they are all over each other. When they're not touching, like their eyes are like, all they are enamored with each other, but I believe it's because they're so connected on all those other levels. They are secure in each other. That's necessary for us. A woman can get down a couple times and enjoy it. It's cool for what it is. Yay, pleasure doing business with you. Thank God, coming out. God bless you. Good night. But for long term, for holding it down, that I'm gonna stick through. I'm there. I'm in it. That takes a different level of connection. That's just different. I'm sorry. It shows up different. It holds on different. It protects different. It goes hard different. Like all of that, it just is different when you're connected that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And everybody don't understand it. But I don't understand that it does bow. To me, that is a willful reluctance to see what's clearly in front of you. And with that example, like that is to me a perfect example of how that happens.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Let's see. Okay, Alyssa says true-ish. Laying the hammer can be good, and the one who wins your heart isn't always the one who is the best lover at first night. That deeper connection and communication makes it so much better as time goes on.
Yep.
Alicia says because there's less judgment. Excuse me. I'd love to understand more what you mean by that. Alyssa says also, girl, you have total control over making that better for both of y'all. You want better effort from him. Put in the effort to communicate what you want. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that we just have to. I think we just need to realize, like again, that this thing shifts because it's more. It's more than just what you do, how you perform. And so I want, hey, Cicely, it's more than how you perform in the bed. So, and women want that. They want somebody who can partner, who can lead, who can all the other things I said earlier. And so as a man, if you think that the only thing you got to do is curl her toes, you in trouble.
Yep.
You're in trouble. So again, it doesn't mean you can't curl her toes. It's not what that's saying. But all right. Part 2. All right. Part 2. I'm not going to even ask more on that one. I'm not. So the second thing I said, I said, and this was the original question that I saw that made me ask the other question. Men do not marry the woman they love. They marry the woman who is there when they are ready to be married. Men do not marry the woman they love. They marry the woman who is there when they are ready to be married.
I'm mad that it is literally 2 likes and 14 comments on this one. And it was 73 some odd reactions and ridiculous amounts of comments on me. Come on, y'all. Oh, my goodness.
You put the word sex, it's like, let me go.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously not a man, but in the conversations and observations that I've had of the many males that I know this feels very true to me. This feels true to me.
Okay. So this one is a little layered. And my initial comment. So first of all, I saw this on somebody's timeline, and I responded that I disagreed with this, and she told me of all of the men who responded, I was the only one who disagreed, and I was like, that's okay. That's interesting, which made me why I posted the question, because I thought, well, maybe I don't know the sample size. I don't know much about the men, but I know the men who usually typically respond on my stuff. And we're about the same age group or older and stuff like that. So I wanted to see from what I understand and what I believe is men love the woman that they marry. So it's not a matter of I don't love, because when I first read this, I'm like, to me, this is saying like you don't love her, the woman you marry, and she's here now, so okay, I'm gonna go ahead and marry her. And I'm like, no, I think what this is saying is like if we're looking at like first love, then you typically are not going to marry your first love, because typically that happens much earlier in life and that person is gone because for whatever reason. So you messed it up, y'all, it was puppy love, y'all was, high school, whatever. So you don't make it, you might not make it. But when you are ready, I think what happens is as men, we develop a different understanding of what we need in our partner. And so just like with a woman, we might not necessarily be looking at the physical aspects or even the sexual aspects first, but now we're shifting into some of the same things. Like, man, we're great friends. We have a great partnership. This is somebody we start thinking in those terms because now we're a little bit more mature and we develop a love from that, as opposed to I'm in love with how you physically look, or I'm in love with the fact that the sex is good. So I think it's very similar to what ladies are doing, what we're saying about women, but I don't think that we love the person we marry any less. I don't think that we have a different. I think it's just a more mature love. It's not like any less passion. Right. It's grounded now because I recognize there's some other things I need in my partner besides her having the right butt and the right shape and the right, that kind of stuff. So
I agree with you, and I appreciate you for giving that additional layer of clarity or in context of what is meant for love for those who may not have initially saw it that way. Because I knew I had an idea of that's what that meant, because we've had this conversation in other ways before, as far as like the ideal, not even necessarily even the first love, but the ideal, the one that if you could handpick your person, you know what I mean? That's not ideally the one that men end up with. And it is from what I've understood and heard and learned, that it is often because the level of maturity happens over time that identifies that this person is better aligned for me, and we're good. And that is the positives of that. But there's also that dutiful attachment that happens. That is where I think the simplicity of marry the woman that they love. They marry the one who is there when they are ready to be married. That is where that simplicity came from, or comes from, I would think, because it is one of those, I love you. And, I'm going to rock with you and I'm going to do what it is that we need to do because this is what we're doing. And I'm now in position to make these moves. But if I could choose, I'm gonna go on and there would be a different based on this. If I could, and this is often from I've had this conversation with people who have been in the thick of it after a while, and so that's a different layer of that experience as well. But there is a lot to the there's a lot of depth to this question and a lot of simplicity to it at the same time. Is what I've learned being that ear for men in marriage and observing comments, reading through some of these comments that men share about what marriage is like and the experience and all of that. If you read through and get context from some of the ways that men describe what marriage is like and and how in it they are and the reasons why they're in it, it identifies exactly this.
I think so. So I think absolutely. I think that depending on when you talk to the man, this question could look different. The answer to this question could look different, because if you're talking to a man who is just getting married, he's not going to say or think most times that I'm married for any other reason but love.
Right. Yep.
But I think what you're saying is like, if you go down 10, 15 years down the road, now it's, I did and do love her. But it starts off with, she's the mother of my children.
Yep. It's always the checkpoint.
It's responsibility.
And respect for work done, for progress made, and
exactly. This idea of like, I still have this, glassy-eyed love. A lot is gone or has diminished. And of course, you have been being married for as long as you have, and me having a like, that there are seasons of that.
Oh yeah.
But as a whole, and in order to keep that starry thing, it takes a whole lot of endeavoring to keep that going. So that is not lost. You thought I was gonna say the other word.
Well, endeavor is the other word. Let's be clear.
So it takes a lot of that in order. But yeah, I think what I'm really trying to push back against is the idea that either men or women, when they do this, neither one of this sees this as settling. Like, I'm settling for, because that's to me the cultural underlying thing. Like, oh, you're settling for somebody who doesn't give you great sex, and he's settling for somebody who he doesn't love because the one who he really loves he can't have. No, that's not what people are intending to do. Most are like, no, this is the person I want to rock with, and then over time, we might feel like we settled, but that's not the initial intent in the ones I'm in. So, let's see. Cicely says, I really think it depends on the man and the demographic thereof. Yep, absolutely. Because listen, there are some men and women who settle. Let's just be straight. We can.
Any old body will do.
Yeah, I'm tired of being by myself. I'm getting old. I need this insurance.
I want to have a baby. I'm ready to.
I'm tired of living in sin, so I might as well. This is the best I can get, so I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, that happens. Alyssa says, to me, there's different kinds of love. Infatuation and the love for a wife or partner are much different. Yeah. But it's also not to say you can't have infatuation for your wife or partner either. So yeah, absolutely. I definitely see your point there. Mike says, you marry who completes you. You should.
Or the mission, or the dream, or the picture.
Yeah. And the reason why I was looking like that, because I was thinking too, how well. I was thinking, like, at 23, my idea of what completed me was completely different than what it is at almost 43.
Yep.
So do we know? And so it just brings up again.
We're not complete at 23.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with.
We're not done.
I'm just thinking, like, there's a nuance to that I think we have to take into consideration as we're thinking like that. Like, does this person complete me? Which is why the whole friend model, the whole idea of understanding purposes and destinies, and
Yeah.
and loving a person's character as opposed, more than anything else becomes excuse me, becomes important. So Cicely says the woman who is there could be psycho because they rarely go anywhere without court order. LOL. Still holds true.
She can't go nowhere.
Can't go anywhere.
Yep.
She probably got warrants. It gets simpler for me as I get older and more mature because I know what I need and don't want, and I'm learning to identify quite well when it's not there. Good.
I think that is the luxury. I mean, not the luxury. That is the benefit of waiting for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That I think our generation as a whole rushed marriage fast. Like, I think we're probably the last group that was like, okay, and we're done. Okay, let's pause on this whole rushed marriage thing. But for whatever reason, we didn't give ourselves the time to get finished or done. Kinda, we ain't even our jelly ain't set good. Like, we still real loose juicy in the middle, but we like it. Let's go, and then we were not ready.
You know what? Now I can say part of that was several aspects to it, but a lot of it is we were rushed or we rushed to be grown,
yes.
Like thinking that marriage meant adulting. So if you went to college, it was go to college, and like I heard stories of, listen, I'm a senior in college and I don't have a man that I'm about to marry. I'm behind. And I'm like, whoa, like I was supposed to go to college to get a husband and I didn't get one. And what's going to happen to my life now? Like, and I think after us, to your point, it was like, no, we just gonna live, and it's gonna, if it happens, it's gonna happen. If not, it's not, and okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not just, I don't know how I feel about it, but because sometimes, I mean, some waiting, I'm like, you approaching you approaching some ages where you might want to come on.
You pick this up. So there's some things you can learn by yourself that you have to prepare yourself for, but there is a lot of relating that has to happen with another person.
Yeah.
You can't really prepare for long-term relationshiping if you don't engage with people. Like, you got a relationship to get better. So,
absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. And then of course there's the whole, I had a group of people when I was in school who literally got married so they wouldn't, the whole it's better to marry than to burn. So like a whole bunch of people were in that, and I wasn't. But they were in it, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna have to take my sin on that one.
Okay. Yeah.
I got enough. I'm
God.
I got plenty of mercy. I got to use my grace. So
yeah.
I was like, God, I won't do none of the other stuff, but this one over here, this one I'm gonna use my grace. Amen. Amen. So, yeah. Cicely says some men have been known to do the right thing. Marriage. Yep. Absolutely.
Some of our favorite relationships that we like to bring up so much when we I'm talking about our nanas and papas and them were do the right thing marriages.
Mm-hmm. And they just didn't. They just stayed together because that was another do the right thing.
That was a do the right thing. Yep.
Do the right thing. So, all right. Last but definitely not least, Mike. You remember? Mike, don't act like you don't remember me back in them days, and some of our brethren who did that. Mike was around back then, so he know.
Hey, grace was sufficient and abundant.
And shut up. I'm not gonna tell you.
Yeah. Let's. Go ahead. Go. Get it off your chest, preacher.
And Mike was probably there when this happened. But we had a meeting one night, and all the brothers was just talking about how they were struggling with struggling with masturbation and watching porn and struggling to keep themselves. And I mean, and they were serious. Like they were legit, like really struggling and like, I need prayer. And they were like, Burns, what about you? I was like, I'm not struggling with this.
Because I handle my business.
And they were like, why not? I said,
take care of me.
I just have sex.
Right. Like,
They were like,
what is we paying for? Like,
are we not supposed to? I was like, well, you going to the altar for masturbation?
I'm at least enjoying it. Like, I don't feel
I'm going to get if I'm
no kind of way about it.
I'm going for something good.
Yo, low. Ho.
He was so mad at me. I was like, it just makes sense to me.
Because that math ain't math. I'm in seeing by myself. And I got to get in front of all of y'all. Hell no.
I might as well make it. I said, if Jesus could die, he might as well.
He taught me to commit.
He was so mad at me.
Hey, power to the band. I support that message. I support it. If we gonna do it, let's do it.
I was like, hey, I feel like we should, make it worth it. That was not the right way to handle that. I just want to say that, but I said
I would have been a bad influence then, because I would have been like,
people like, he has a point.
right? Like, I mean, but let's just talk about it. Like, when you think about the thing, same result. One's just way more fun than the other one. So like, are we the fun food or are we the sin food? It's like,
this is all for listen. I wasn't resisted. No, nothing. I was like, hey, you got one shot at college. You might as well have fun. Oh, it was so bad. There were so many moments like that for me in college. They were just like, you really just, hey.
That's hilarious.
Sorry. Woo. Anyway.
That's hilarious.
All right.
It's like, I can just imagine you in that room when they got to you waiting on your testimony. You like,
look, I was like this.
And in your head, you're going, am I going to do it? I ain't going to do it. You ain't going to do it.
We're going to pray about it.
Nope. Y'all can pray about it. Pray for me, but I ain't praying about nothing. I love it.
Me and the Lord, we done had our conversations, so we could. Oh God! So yes, that was how I handled that. All right.
Yeah, you never told me that story before. That's a good one.
I used to get all kind of trouble. All right. Where did it go? The last one is here it is. The last one is $500 wedding. So if everybody saw this last week it was I forgot her name, I'm sorry, but they were talking about she did a wedding for $500. She found a free place that she did her wedding, which was like right off the highway. Put some chairs out, very small, intimate space. Had the people who attended pay for their own food at the reception. Bought her dress online for $47. So they did their wedding for $500. So my question was, is this a smart move or was it not? And then I asked, would you go to a wedding where you had to pay for your own food? Thoughts?
$500 wedding, smart move or nah? I don't think it's a not smart move. I think you can pull off a wedding where you both feel like it's been your day and you enjoyed yourself and it checked all of your boxes for wedding. Baby, write the book. Like it's just gonna sell. Like people are gonna want to know how to do that. Would you go to the wedding where you had to pay for your own food? Where are we eating? Like what type of food are we paying for? Where was the food? the wedding is supposed to be a celebration of the couple. So it's always low-key blown my mind how much money that the couple spends for the wedding in the first place, because we're here to celebrate you. So why am I paying all of this? Like, so for my loved ones, I think weddings, we invite too many random ass people to our weddings in the first place. So for if my people were inviting me to a wedding, then yes, I would absolutely pay. I don't mind paying for my food. Like, I'm celebrating you. I would pay for your food too. Like I don't really get that part. And that's probably why I love a beautiful wedding, but the Capricorn in me, the coin counter in me be sitting back going, I don't know if I would have been. James and I to this day have not planned other than looking at a website and checking out some prices and me going, oh hell no. Like, because we've been married almost 20 years and have yet to have, like, we want to do the big ceremony thing and like the renewal and all that. But when it all comes down to it, I'm not finna pay to pack out a room of folks that through the whole like back and forth, like just the last 5, y'all start really messing with me. So like, I'm not finna spend $15K to set up this beautiful spot and give you all the time in your lives when you don't really F with me like that. What we finna do is take us a super all-inclusive trip to, you know what I mean, and go spend that renewal money and have us a good time that way, and then we can have us a little party when we get back to the house type. Because like, that doesn't compute for me. It just doesn't. I'm gonna go all out for about 20-25 people. Like, that's you know what I mean? But at this age, and after going through and knowing what it takes to maintain a marriage and what it really is gonna, you know, the support and the community that really shows up in the midst of that, is about 20-25 people that I would be willing to happily, cheerfully break that kind of bread for and say, hey, come celebrate with us. You know what I mean? Now, this is a celebration of what we've done together. So when we're starting new in a marriage, I would think you would put that money up in celebration of the people that have already proven that they can and will show up for you and the furthering of your marriage. That whole, I'm inviting a cousin I ain't seen since I was itty bitty and all of this because my mom and them got her guest list and my daddy and them got.
And that's what happens a lot of times.
No, but for my people, yeah, I would pay for my gift. I would pull up to the side of the highway and be fly as hell when I do it. We're gonna take pictures and do all of the things because you're my girl and that's what you want. And let's do that. But yeah, that didn't bother me. I was interested in what the meal was though. I didn't click into it very deeply because everybody gave the breakdowns and the captions, but I was interested in what they actually ate. How much money?
And then they wound up going to a restaurant too, I think.
Oh, then it's just a dinner. Pay for your damn food.
Yeah.
Like, what's the sister say she got no gifts? Did they say don't give gifts? Or did people decide they didn't want to give gifts?
She didn't give gifts because she had to pay for their own food.
Oh, so she told them don't give gifts.
Correct.
And they listened?
What I know they did.
See, that's why she had them paying for that, because she knew she had them type of people that would still just show up and feed themselves and go home and wouldn't bring a gift to the damn wedding. That's tacky. To me, that was more tacky than asking them to do the thing.
I would bet people probably did.
I would hope so.
Some people probably did, but yeah. But she don't pay for their own food. Alyssa says, you know what? If they have to pay for their own food, it might keep the hateful extras away. Yeah. Maybe.
Right, because you see the energy I was coming with. I'd be like, let's go. What's time the reservation list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mike says, totally smart considering the rate of divorce. Plus, there is life after the wedding.
Yep.
Some of the most beautiful weddings I've seen were very simple. I have two, but they still spend some money on them. Get married at the beach. Serve everything off the grill, sides and all, less than $500.
Have Unc with the sandals in his linen white suit.
Listen, if you tell me happy birthday every year, you can come to my high price wedding. Oh snap! Look at how small that list just got.
Yeah, see.
Yeah. She said I didn't even read the post. I knew about That's what happened. She told them don't get gifts. She just said just pay for your food. So I've been thinking through this, and I I don't know. I think if I got a lot of free stuff, I would be like, oh, that's fine. First of all, I don't know how I feel about making people pay for their own food, but I recognize that is the tradition in me that says that. Because in retrospect, like I could tell you how much I paid for my wedding in 2003, and
I bet you could win down to the damn penny, huh? And 22 cents. I know, baby. I know. I know it's okay. Ooh.
The Lord restore. It's not, but it's just like a lot of this stuff is for them. Like a lot of the stuff is for them. So that's why I'm like this. I'm so committed. Like I'm not getting married and having a ceremony for other folk. Like this is gonna be what we want, and that's it. This is what we can afford. And even back then, I had no sense. So people started telling me what they wanted, and even then, I was like, well, I told them, I said, your how did I put it? Your opinions could be taken a whole lot more serious if they were proceeded by cash, check, or money order. But if it's not,
I can forward this good old invoice to you, player. Consider it done.
If it's not being preceded by those, I really don't have much for you. Because if I'm paying for it, I'm choosing what we're doing. And we're standing all over the building.
So, is there one? Let them come.
So at 23, if I was ornery like that, at 43, my butt is super ornery. So I just don't see going in debt. Like there's a certain thing I just don't want. I'm not going to go in debt. So I appreciate this $500 wedding for that purpose. But I also balance that with saying I don't want to be tacky either. So I think it has to be nice. It doesn't have to be tacky to be to do it, but I just want it to be something nice, something that you can look back and say, this was the day we wanted.
Yeah.
So whatever that looks like.
I'm not mad at it. Either of those scenarios, honestly. But yeah.
Do what you want. That's do what you want. So all right. That was hot topics.
Wasn't too bad.
No, not bad at all. You want to let's do your ad and then let's jump right into this main topic because we yeah. You said who you said?
No one has to be there.
Oh, you're going to be there, sir.
Just say, back to listen. As long as I'm cute and my bae is there, let's jump this here broom.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this and do your ass so we can do this this good topic.
I'm muting me.
Wash day has never been so simple, sis. Let's be honest. Rarely is spending a day bent over the sink and stuck under the dryer considered ideal for self-care. We got things to do, okay? So get back to it and trade those 5011 products for 3 of our best-selling staples for your basic hair care needs. Cleanse and condition your curls with our super rich, deliciously citrus-scented Quench shampoo and conditioner, and lock in that bounce and shine with our Do Me Daily moisturizing cream that gives your coils the proper stage to show out no matter how you decide to style. Grab yours today at elegancebydesign.com.
We're gonna double dutch with the mic button.
Yeah, Mike got a question for you.
Yeah, what do you have for braided hair? Okay, to braid the hair, I suggest shampooing and conditioning, of course, with the Quench shampoo and conditioner. Follow with the Do Me Daily to set the hair, to moisturize the hair. Do Me Daily moisturizing cream. Those are the 3 products in that previous ad. then you can set the braids you can prime the braids for install with the Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm, which is an amazing product for puffs, ponytails, braids, all of that. Yes, sir. And you can use the leave-in to moisturize after they've been set. Depending on box braids, cornrows, doesn't really matter. You can use the Quench leave-in conditioner for that for maintenance after.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to put all that in the comments for him. Okay?
I will. I was already starting to type, but it's out there. And that's the website, elegancebydesign.com.
All right. So tonight's main topic, go for it.
Yes. So, keeping with the grown and sexier types of conversation tonight, we are digging into the topic that has made its way throughout the internet over these last couple days. When posted 4 days ago, this synopsized version of the story. Fellas, while DJ Envy is the subject of conversation, you might want to check with your partner to find out if she's been faking orgasms. Studies show 10% of women have never orgasmed, and between 50 to 70% say they do not consistently have them. And we are all standing all over the building. Okay, so if you have not, excuse me, seen the interview or read any of the numerous blog posts that have been making their way around the internet, DJ Envy and his wife had an interview where she confessed that I think they've been married 20 years, and of 10 of those years, she was not satisfied sexually. She said she did not orgasm during that time. And she did not tell him in protection of his ego and not wanting to make him feel some type of way. So DJ Envy then replied, excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my voice all of a sudden, but DJ Envy then replied that when she told him this information that his feelings were hurt by that. So of course, that sent the internet ablaze because say what now, sis? 10 years? Say what? Nothing? Not a mumbling word? You ain't even mentioned it? You ain't made a peep? You ain't whispered? He ain't had no clue? None? So that was what like a lot of folks immediately asked, like, damn, that's a long time. And then on the flip of that, people were asking, like, how did he not know that in 10 years there was no orgasm happening? And I think I read somewhere that he said that like she was making all the noises, like it sounded like it was happening and all of that. And I thought, okay, we do a good job at the noise thing, so I could see how a man could easily like I can see that. But at this, so there were questions on both sides for how did we not know 10 years out of 20 that this was happening? Why did it take some non-sexual revelation to share the fact that we have not been doing what we thought we was doing in this here bedroom? So that is the motivation for this remixed request, this remixed recommendation for folks to check in with their people to make sure that the thing is thanging like we think it is. So tonight we're going to talk about why it is so easy for us to have such intimate and sexual conversations on social media and in mixed company among strangers, because that's the new thing. Like, sex is no longer a taboo subject for us. It is out there and open, just like tying shoes and going to work every day. So we do this very, very easily, but for whatever reason, we get into situations similar to what is motivating this post to DJ Envy and his wife. Now, of course, this is absolutely an exaggerated, or what appears to be an exaggerated amount of time, because 10 years is a long time to be married to someone and not being pleasured sexually, because I can imagine there was quite a bit of sex, because there is influence attached to this person. Like, we're not talking about their sex life for no reason. At some point, he was somebody that folks was really trying to check for. So I can imagine there was a lot of this unsatisfiable sex that happened during this period. So that just begs a lot of questions. So when Wynn and I were talking about this, and I just said, why is it so easy for us to have these conversations with other people and share very, very, I mean, how they like it, who they like it, where they like it, put it there, what they done it with, what they want to try. Not only what I like now, but what I want to try in the future, like the fantasies. And I know way more information about people that I've never actually like laid my actual eyeballs on in real life. Like I know way too much about these people because it's the what
Talk about
and that's what we're talking about tonight. So yeah, because it's causing there was pain that happened because of this non-communicado that happened from his wife.
Right.
So yeah, that's what we're getting into. Wayne, what are your thoughts on this?
All right, so I'm gonna start with the DJ Envy part. I was so first I was like, whoa, wait, hold on, what happened? So finding out that it was a book, that they wrote a book, and this is in the book, because the first time I heard about it, she was on Angela Yee's podcast, and so she made. And I was like, I saw the clip, I was like, let's rewind, and so found out, of course, it was a book. They're doing a lot of media for the book. Heard more of the conversation when they were on the Breakfast Club. And again, same thing, like this is about a book. They talked about, really the purpose of the book is talking about the real life issues of marriage and how to get through them. So, so she brought that up. They also brought up infidelity, how she found out about his infidelity. And of course this. So I felt like I bring it up to say, at first I wondered, not so much as to why it's so easy for us to talk about this, but I was like, is this one of those things that I would even talk about publicly? Like there are a lot of things like that I publicly talk about that I probably shouldn't, but I also am very like, I was like, I don't know if this is one that I would ever talk about publicly.
This trial and testimony that they have, like if you found out, if your wife has shared that it had been 10 years, like you don't know if you would be that transparent.
I don't know if I would be that transparent. It made me wonder, like, would I be that transparent?
Which would be fair if you chose not to share that. Yeah.
I don't think it's the right or wrong. It just made me question like my boundary, like is my and I thought listening to him, because then today I heard the conversation where I don't know where Rick Ross was up there, and Ross was like, "Hey,
oh yeah, I missed this."
So I just saw the beginning of it, and Ross was like, "Hey, I've seen a whole bunch of stuff about fake orgasms. What happened?" And so like, Envy is telling him, and so he, and I was like, okay, he seems Envy very confident in having a discussion. So I was like, okay, if he's confident about it, cool. They worked through it. And so that's why this conversation to me is so good, and why that post I put out there was because I think a lot of times we are not having conversations that are uncomfortable. My initial thing was, as a man, how would this make me feel, and what would this do to my marriage? But to step back and think, but if my marriage is secure, then this conversation should really lead us to a deeper level of intimacy that we hadn't had before. Because to think through how difficult it must be to be first of all, to be in a relationship where you want and desire, because these were high school sweethearts. So to desire sexual intimacy and not get it. And then how painful it must be to realize that you think you're giving it and you find out you're not. Like now there are so many layers of emotion that she has been holding on to that she gets to release and deal with. And now there are some things that he was holding on to. There's probably a level of arrogance that he gets to release and let go. And with this newfound humility gets to do some things differently in that area and other areas that will probably bring them close together. So that was a long way around me saying, like, I think it's a good thing. I just had to walk through this path of do I think for the overall health of if this were me, my marriage, this could be a beneficial thing, because I ain't just out into telling my business just to be selling no book.
Right.
So, like Like it's got to be more to it than we need to sell a couple of books. So I think it was good. I think these conversations need to happen way more, because I think a lot of, I think a lot of men and women would be relationships would be a whole lot happier if they just told the truth that, listen, I don't like this, or I really do like this and need more of this, or I don't like that. You could do less of that, and I'd be okay.
Is it the anonymity of, or the I know good and well, like we ain't never gonna, that gives us a different level of courage to have these conversations in open spaces with this certain detachment, as opposed to with just you and the one other person? Because like that's what I struggle with how easy it is for us to share so deep in this area and then go home to people who don't know how to please us. Is it a care thing that keeps us from that? Because I understand the pride and not wanting to hurt someone's feelings.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, for the things that you just mentioned for DJ Envy, like it's not necessarily even from an arrogance piece. It's I am checking the pleasure box for my person. That is a personal satisfaction thing that I've done because I've committed to doing this.
Mm-hmm.
To find out later that I'm not, and this is important to me, that is going to affect me. So like, when we're withholding that from do we think about that?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different variations. I think some of it is we think, first of all, I think some of the big thing is we don't think that the person actually cares. I think there's a part of us that thinks that the other person does not care enough about us to meet this need or to help in this need, and we don't think we're valuable enough to have that need met. So there's like a level of performance that's in there that says, like, here's a good example. I don't make enough money. So because I don't make enough money, I can't ask him to do this because he's already doing this. So because of that, let me just shut up. Let him have this because he's doing this. And so now I need to just be quiet and take and suck it up, and it'll be okay because at least I get this over here. So there's a part of that. And then, like I said, there's a part of it that's just, like I said, that just feels like, hey, I've asked for enough.
Yeah.
It's too much. Yeah. So if she don't want, or I've asked for other things and she don't do those, or she half does them, or it's lazy, so I don't want to keep, you know what I mean? Like it's just sometimes there's just a really bad culture in relationships that come along with this. So talking about it within itself brings a level of fear, almost like fear that we don't want to do it, because I think a lot of times we're afraid to say what, and then there's the thing of we're afraid to say what we like. So I mean, it's layered. It's
afraid. I think for women, we're afraid to say it to the people that we like, because it matters more to the person that we like, as opposed to a large group of people that you really don't give a damn if they care about it one way or the other. Because when reading through the comments of your question, and even on other posts, not necessarily related to the scoop about this situation, it's always rooted back in, well, I hear a lot of, well, she should have communicated that. She should have said that. And while I agree with that, I don't necessarily think that our issue is with communicating. We know how to communicate it. We know how to say what we like, how we like it, where we like it, whatever the case may be, after a certain point. I think it's the who we're communicating it to is the issue. All of the things that we build up around our people keep us from communicating with each other. If I say that I like this thing that he's never done anymore, am I going to now be looked at like I'm a slut because I know something that he's never done? Well, where you get that from? Why you want to do that? Like there is questions that may or may not even come to fruition, but because we have all of these preconceived thoughts and notions in our head about what wife looks like, woman looks like, good woman, good wife looks like, in comparison to what chose woman, bad chick, desirable, all of the other pros and cons of what men should want weigh against, so I can see why even the woman who knows what she wants and how she wants it could struggle with saying those words to the person that she's trying to fill all of these blanks for. And I could see that being a thing. Not saying that it's right. We still have to work through that, but I can see why that could be one of those barriers for us.
Yeah. I can see that too. I can. I also can see. Well, I've had this conversation. There's a conversation I've had multiple times too. I've had a conversation with multiple ladies who have said part of their issue is, so fellas, if you don't know this, not all, but some ladies will, like, I know wives who, because of the way social media is, you can see what your partner likes and comments on. And so if these kind of posts with women come up and you're liking or loving and commenting, making certain comments, I've seen wives see those and say, part of the reason why I struggle making this is because the women that he likes and loves look nothing like me.
Yep.
And I've heard husbands say the same thing. Like, I'm struggling because now I see the kind of man that she likes and I'm not him. And so now it becomes difficult because now I'm exposing myself or trying to expose this intimate part of me. And I'm concerned that I'm going to be rejected because this is what he really wants. He wants that Instagram model. She wants this dude right here who, looks like whatever. And now I don't feel like I can tell her what I want because that's not what I want, because they really want this other person.
It's almost like you're begging them to break your heart, to tell you, like, to verbalize all the things I'm not. Baby, what do you want? Well, not that. Like, obviously not that. Like, you've seen them likes, like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think we have to, I bring that point up too, to say that we have to, first of all, be careful what we're doing on social media, but two, also be proactive. Like, I think part of the some people are like, well, it's just social media, it's fan. But if your person is seeing this and they're already struggling with talking to you about this, because for some men and women, this is like the area. There are some people who, like, this is the area that if I can't do anything well, I can do this well.
Yep.
I can't make money. I can't cook. I don't keep the house clean. I don't, do this well for her. But when it comes to what we do in the bedroom, I got that. And so now that is we're questioning that. It's like, well, then what? Now I really don't know.
What am I here for?
Yeah. What I'm here for. What benefit do I have? What value do I add to you and to this relationship? Am I even wanted? Like, I'm not even wanted here anymore. So bad enough you don't need me, but now you don't want me either. And so I think we have to be sensitive to that. But at the same time, it's still, that's why it's so important. And the beauty of having this conversation and consistently having it is that you get to a point where it's not that I don't want I don't want you, or I don't need you, or however you want to word it, but it's that I need something different and I'm willing to try something different to please you.
Yep.
I'm willing to adjust what I do because I didn't know that this is what you needed, or I thought I was giving you what you needed, or, you don't need it as much. Cool. I didn't know what was happening to your body when this was happening. So now that I understand that, let me do this, or does this help? And so you start to develop more intimacy that makes that situation, that sexual situation better, because now we can have those conversations. And now this is not just about a physical thing, but this is now becomes a mental and emotional moment that we can kind of grow together as a couple.
I completely agree, and I love the idea of check-ins. We have to get better. We have to get more comfortable, I think, as we evolve and learn these new things. As we start to relate better to each other and learn about ourselves, and then think, I wonder if that might, if I did this, maybe this might affect them. But in that understanding, do consistent reviews with each other about not just sex, but like make it where, and I think we talked about this years and years ago, and we did it kind of like a schedule, like every quarter we sit down and we just lay it all out there, open, free reign. But I don't know if it needs to be that scheduled, but we have got to normalize having conversations like this that carry weight in how we love one another, in a way that doesn't set us up as me against you. This is simply like the review so that we can adjust. Just like you get your tune-up for your car, your oil change, whatever the case may be, it's the same thing for the relationships. Now, if you want to piece it out and do, random, hey, how's that? We've been doing the same thing for a while. And I mean, I'm working for me, but I just want to make sure if that's, make sure that you're good with that. Yeah, is it good for you the same way it's good for me? Because I mean, I'm down to change some stuff up. I got time. I can learn something new if you got something for me to try. Because it's some time has changed since the last time we talked. But like, we have to we don't normalize not being in constant agreement while in relationship or in constant alignment, meaning there can be no bumps. We always have to be your A, I'm A, or your B to B. Okay, we're doing this and we're moving. We have to normalize having the not so much conversation, and it be taken, oh, not so much. Okay, well, what much then? What's much? And then be willing, you're like, well, show me much. Like, what do you prefer as much? And it not be a slight on the love or how the person is showing up for you, and it doesn't put them in a, well, where you get that much from? How you know about that much? I didn't show you that much. Like, it's one of those.
You know what?
That's the flip that happens that makes it hard to have that.
Yeah. But that to me tells me, when I hear stuff like that, it tells me that you haven't been having those conversations all along.
Right. It's new.
Because these should not, like, again, not saying that you should know like every flip and trick and twist your partner's done, but you should know your partner has a past. Okay, like that. Okay, you have a past. Got it. So when it comes up that that something, okay, hey, I want to try X, Y, Z, like it shouldn't be like, oh my God, I have a past. Like,
or I have a future. Like with all the access we have to sex, I might have seen a little something.
I just saw this and I was like, hey, let's try it. But again, because we haven't normalized that as a space that we could have, now all of a sudden we're approaching this conversation like you marry, and and like, no, like he and she have probably had or one of you have a past, and it is what it is. Like, as long as it's in the past, we're fine, but so we just need to have that, like, have those conversations on a regular from the beginning. And so if we have it, then that's the first thing to do, is start having those conversations on a regular basis. So now we're not like little children when the word sex comes up, like, and get all giggly, like, like, because you ain't giggling, it's time to do it. Come on, like you.
Yeah.
So we have to be, and again, I get it too, because I can remember times where I was like afraid to say what I wanted. And why not? Because again, culturally, I come from a space where that's not conversation that you have to say, I need ABC, I need XYZ, I want such and such, such, but you got to have developed that type of relationship with your partner where these, certain things don't mean certain things. And what I mean? I'm trying to say that because I know my mama watching, so I always be.
You got a whole baby, and I think Mama knows.
So, it's like, what I mean? Like, you can't look. This is the things I like, and so therefore I need to make it known that this is what I like, and this is the way I like it. Okay, cool. Why didn't you just say that in the first place? I don't know.
Yeah. But I'm glad that it was easy, and I won't take so long next time. Like, and saying that, even in that, why didn't you say it in the first place? That, while it reinforces that this is a safe place for you to do this, and the honesty that comes in that response. Well, I mean, I didn't know how that was going to land. That's a touchy subject. Didn't know, but I appreciate you being so cool about it. So, and then that at that point would open. That would, I don't know if in that moment I would immediately be like, so do you have any feedback for me? Like, is there anything I could change? But that would absolutely make me want to reciprocate that exchange. If not for sex in that immediate moment, but I would be intentional about finding a way to reciprocate that confirmation of safe place. Because for us as a woman, know that we're taught that a man and his sex is his desire for and his performance in sex is huge to how he shows up for you in all the other places in life. So for us, this one is specifically difficult and often the last thing that we're willing to address in our long-term relationships, or even those ones that we want to become long-term relationships. So if a woman were to have that conversation with her spouse and he would reply that way with, easy breezy, cool. Oh, okay, cool. I got it. Yep. Done. You should have told me that before. I could have been on that. You know how many good hoes you miss fooling with that being like, made it an easy breezy. Like, I'm here for you, baby. Like, hey, I'm gonna do whatever you tell me where to go, and I'm there. That kind of thing then makes it like, oh, okay, cool. And then there's a safe place, there's a trust there, and then there's a different level of it's intimacy, but it's different. That happens for us when not only have you unlocked something for me, but you've dispelled a myth about me being able to show up who I am with my desires, my wants, my individuality is safe with you. It's welcomed. Like, you encourage me to show up as me for you in a way that the rest of the world wouldn't allow me to. And I don't know if when we have these conversations, when we talk about this in shared spaces and how this type of honesty really hits for us, but for the fellas who happen to tune in and get this far in the show and hear that, I really want you to get that. Like, when you create a space that is set apart from all of the things that we've been shown and experienced in the rest of this world, when you create a space that feels comfortable and fit for her, and she gets to show up as is with no reduction on her sticker, that is how you get that woman who long suffers with a smile. Not saying that's what you want for her, but is willing to. Would welcome the challenge to do it with you, because you've created a space that allows her to be that type of woman for her. That is what that does. So, being able to push that part of the manhood to the side to create that good thing for her that reaps benefits way beyond the bedroom, for our connection and our buy-in for all of the other things that we're asked to do. And that was just a little nugget that I thought I'd give y'all, little piece. But when you change the way that she sees the world, when you give her that light amongst what all the other stuff has happened, because we talk a lot about why I shouldn't have to pick up for what everybody else did, and that ain't my da-da-da. True. All facts. However, that ain't the reality.
Yeah, we gotta do something.
Our experiences are experiences, and they shape us who we are. They create who we are. So while that may all sound cute, that is not what you're dealing with. And you are selling yourself a dream if you are setting the expectation that all of that slate's wiped clean and all of those prior experiences are just voila magic poof because your beautiful shining armor self showed up. That's not how that works. So, you know, when you create that space, man, I'm just put that in your pocket. Have me in the back of your mind. Let me sit on your shoulder one day when you have that moment when she comes and she's open and like, I'm not sure how if you welcome that in, if you give that, almost instant. She gonna marinate in a minute because like, what the hell just happened? Like, she gonna walk out on the other side of that door and be like, whoo.
And she might not initially respond the way that Q is telling you.
Right. Yeah.
The first time, but you do that a couple more times.
Yep. Because she's not gonna forget it. She's not gonna forget it. She might not acknowledge it and do all the song and dance and jump up and down, and she's gonna appreciate it. She's gonna be great. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But honey, that's in there. That's in there. Yeah. And because you created that space where it was okay, there will be another time. And depending upon how deep, and it's probably going to be much deeper than that other. She did something about y'all. Now, the next time, that could be something about her that's deep, that no one knows, that she's been holding on to, that needs to be released. Yep. And if she gives that thing to you and you cover that with care, I got you. Like, I don't know if y'all can see, but like, I got goosebumps at that thought of what that feels like for a woman to be able to hand that over to someone and it be received with, oh, baby, you've been holding this all this time? I could have been had this. Like, girl, give me that. Like, so that is the reception of that thing that's been weighing, that's been keeping us heavy and down. Now, I don't know what that is for y'all. I don't know what that weight lift is for you, but baby, that is absolutely one of those for us. Absolutely one of those for us. Yep.
Yeah. I think for us it's the belief that I'm still your king even when I don't perform well or don't feel like it. Like there is like
I see that.
Like, I see you. You don't have to. You can rest. You good. Yeah. Like I think that's that for us.
I can see that.
This is the space you can take off that part of you and just chill, just relax.
I got you.
And in the morning, you can put it back on, and we're gonna go right back out there.
Yeah, and go do you. Yeah.
We're gonna stand right there. Go for it, Ken. Yeah, that's what
you can start unbuttoning that cape in the driveway when you get home. Like you can take it off. yeah,
absolutely. That's what's up. Yeah, I think this is again, and that's why I think this conversation is needed. I think having this conversation is a very good segue into other conversations. Like if we can have that conversation about how we can please each other, what each other needs. And here's another thing, why it means that to you. So I think sometimes we're so focused on the act or the way it's done, but okay, you said you don't like this. Is there a reason like this? What's going on? What happens? What's happening in you? Or has something happened to you that, I noticed that when I do this, you respond this way. Where does that come from?
Yeah.
And then just be able to like unpack that and walk that through with each other. And then like you said, to be like, okay, you don't have to worry about that no more. I'm not
consider it done. Yep.
We got that. I'm not him. I won't do that to you. Like, really? Yeah. I'm okay.
I don't even like that no more. Knowing that that's how that makes you feel, I don't even want that thing anymore. Yeah.
Okay. And then vice versa. I noticed that you don't do this. You don't sing this. What can I do to do this? Why do you do that? Why do you not do this? Is there like this? Is that something that's uncomfortable? Is it something you want to do, but it's uncomfortable? Like what? Tell me, talk to me. Where did that come from? let's think about that. Okay, you good? All right, let's try it.
Mhm.
Oh,
One of my favorite love songs is Music Soul Child, Teach Me How to Love. Like if you ever, if y'all have a music app that plays the lyrics like Tidal does, there's a lyric function now that while the song is playing, like it shows. Find that song, put the lyrics on, and listen to the lyrics. Like read those lyrics and marinate on that love letter of teach me how to do it. It's so much vulnerability in it. I don't know. I want to know. Like just those aren't the lyrics, but like that is the gist. That is the root of where he's at. I don't know, but I need to know. I need you. I want you. I need to teach me. Like I am open. I'm as bare as you get, nose wide open, book handed. Let's go. You know what I mean? And so that we can do this thing. And I don't know if we really marinate on what that means to be taught and to teach. There is a level of patience and grace that is required for both parts of that relationship to happen. You have to create the space for both, to be a student and to be a teacher. Yeah.
That's how you build intimacy.
Yep.
But again, imagine if we're comfortable there, it makes it a lot easier, comfortable to talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. So
you literally become one with that other person in those moments. No matter what position you're in, you have become one with that person. If you can manage to figure those conversations out, there's nothing I don't think you can really tackle clothed. All these clothed issues become a little less intimidating when you can get that level of vulnerable and find pleasure in it and comfort in it and trust in those spaces.
Yep. All right.
Because everybody want to do it so willy nilly, like that's on my mind. Like,
my thing is, it like it's not. This is a space that both of us like are looking for pleasure in, so it's not. Like, it's not a job, you know, so
it shouldn't be. Yeah,
definitely. So, all right. Final thoughts.
This was good. I am excited to identify and learn about new ways for us to teach each other how to love each other better. Like seriously, I think that is one of, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show today, like one of the things that I've committed to as a passion and as a priority for not only what we do here at the Scoop and like the way that we have our conversations. We try and be, for those of you that don't know, very strategic in how we present our content to our audience and the kinds of conversations we like to have about what's trending. So in that, we've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work for us loving y'all as our tribe and our community and the people that we want to see do better. But it has absolutely taught us about, it has reinforced this need to peel it all back and get to the nitty gritty of the thing. So I think we're all students. So my final thoughts are, I appreciate the duality that we have right now in our community of being both teachers and students of what it feels like to be in this experience right now. This world has never been as advanced, as accessible, as educated, as able as it is right now. And to be on both sides of this coin in this moment, I don't want us to squelch, to just squander that opportunity. So I really, I would encourage us to be both teacher and student. And really be intentional about that. Identify when is my teaching moment, when is my learning moment.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. What was it? So before I got on here, you heard me. I was taking.
I was like, did you prepare final thoughts? I was gonna say,
no.
Flag on the MF and play. Okay.
No, so
But okay, you
yeah,
good, Carrie.
before I got on this call, I was on a coaching call,
Yes.
and Darius Daniel said something that just piggyback to what you said that I want to say. He said that we need to be just as committed to our own development as we are to someone else's dysfunction.
Ooh.
So, and he used the example. He said that if somebody needed us, we're up. If somebody else needed us, first of all, I always keep. But
He stayed with a notepad, but I just didn't know we was taking notes, sis.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what we was doing now.
No, I was taking notes on the call before, but he said, but he was talking about. He's like, we're so committed to helping everybody else, but we never take the time, or we're not as committed to helping ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, I think that we've got to be just as intense and intentional about building up ourselves as we are about trying to take care of everybody else. And I think this is the season for that. So I think, again, to be teacher and student is a great place to be. But I also say that I want to be teacher and student, and at the same time, I want us to love ourselves enough to realize that we've got to, again, be just as committed to ourselves as we are to everybody else. So
take it off the top.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I always say, we got to learn how to give from our overflow.
Yep.
Learn how to give to people from the overflow. Your cup is supposed to run over, and the part that runs over is the part for everybody else. The part that gets to the top of the cup, that's for you. Everything in that cup is yours. Everything that is on the outside is for everybody else. So, good show, good discussion. Y'all are dope as always in the comments, so I appreciate you all. Y'all make sure you all keep rocking with us. And I'm excited about this weekend.
Yes.
So this is like our Q and I will be our first, not our last.
Nope.
Scoop wedding. So two members, Elise and Joseph JB, they're getting married this Saturday in Dallas, and Q and I both will be there. Again, this is a Scoop wedding. They met in the group. They met in the group, started dating in the group, and now they're getting married this Saturday. So shout out to Elise and JB, and so Q and I will be there. And I get the privilege of performing the ceremony, so I am like, I'm
yeah, we are so like in our feels about this. We playing Cougars like we finna kick it, but like I hope they watch this. That was one of the dopest things I think that has happened in the entirety of us doing this. I was cool with them just meeting in the group and getting married. Like I was like, oh, that's so cool! Like we did it! Like it was amazing. But to have that extended invitation to us to show up and share in that day, especially because they ain't got a $500 wedding. Okay, we have watched the planning of this here situation. Sis is showing out on this weekend.
She said this thing. I was like, oh,
they ain't playing. Yeah, they ain't playing. They have. I don't even know all the because but this is not going to be nothing to shake a stick at. Okay, and so for them to include us in the preparation and the sharing of like the people that are coming to this wedding know about us and the group, and that's how we are a part of their lifetime story. We are a part of a forever story. That is one of the dopest things, period, for us. So yeah. Super excited. We can't wait, y'all. Cannot wait.
Absolutely. So I just sent you the thing that she sent me. I was like, oh, y'all ain't playing.
I'm a party fan.
Yeah. So that's I'm excited. So with all that to say, we don't know if we're doing Clubhouse this week or not. We ain't figured that out.
Listen, I'm throwing my stuff in the bag.
we might not.
I'm Googling restaurants. I'm in planner mode right now.
So that's what we.
I'm gonna need a vacation. Okay, we about to parlay this to a whole weekend over here at the Willis house.
I'm a little jealous. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all have a good night. Y'all have
Wow.
a good one. I told you. That's I was like, whoa. Hey, thank you. That's what I said. I was like, oh, this is what we doing? We got a whole setup.
I should be a bestie. I should have worked on being a better friend during the time we was in the group. I want to kick it.
I'm like, the preacher get to do all of this? Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, we have a cool preacher. Yeah, you get to come kick it when you got a cool preacher. If you was a pawpaw preacher, no, you wasn't gonna be invited to none of this. You would have got the wedding time, and that's it. But you're not pawpaw. You can. So yeah, you get to kick it all weekend long.
Kick it, huh? I'm like, oh yeah.
It's perks to it. To being on the outside. It's perks to walking that line. The people's preacher.
Oh, clearly, this is one of the perks. All right, so y'all have a good night. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for all of your comments. If you have not hit the share button, hit the share button. Y'all, yeah, talk to your people. Let's get better. Let's continue to love each other. Y'all, see y'all next
And we
Tuesday.
love y'all.
Absolutely.